how to get leads as a new agent and how to convert those leads.
We're going to kind of talk a little bit about lead generation. And then after you get the leads, what do you do with them? I don't want to say it's easy to get leads because that's, a different discussion itself because you got to get leads. But now that you got them, all right, well, what are you going to do? How do you follow up them? So we're going to kind of dive into that a little bit. And there are certain things, especially I would say people in our, let's say, age group, our generation, that they don't like doing. And we're going to talk about that as well.
Yeah, that's a good preface. Yeah, so I mean, we've got I think 12 agents now on the team, something like that, and we keep building. People keep calling us all the time. So Galen, I've been at this for 7 years. Galen's now getting tenured. He's been in it a few years now. He's crushing it. You're newer than me though.
Sure.
So when you started, what was the main lead gen thing for you think?
First, I want to start here is the fact that you have to kind of embrace the idea that as a real estate agent, you're a salesperson. And I feel like a lot of people are like, I'm a consultant, I'm a this, I'm that. I'm like, yeah, that's all great.
I'm a home specialist.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that. Very good. Very good. Home specialist, all these things. Salesperson. You have to, one, sell them on you and then sell their house. If you can't do those two things, you're going to be a home specialist, and that means you're going to be at home all the time. So you got to really embrace the fact that you got to be able to sell those two things you got to do. And then sales for any job, it's a grind. You have to be disciplined. You have to be disciplined in your own mind and your own finances. So you've got to kind of think, all right, so what is my day going to be like? And whether you are a person who likes to wake up early in the morning.
Nope.
You can do that. Maybe I like to wake up a little bit earlier than probably most people and start up. Or maybe you say, I don't like waking up. Well, then you got to make those calls after 5 because, that's when people are home. So it's a grind. So you got to embrace that mentality. Say, listen, I'm a salesperson. I got to sell something.
Yeah. So you're, like you said, you're selling yourself and then you're selling houses. Selling yourself is probably first. That's where the networking lead gen comes in, I guess. But
absolutely.
At the end of the day, we get people that say, well, I don't have that much budget, or what do I do if I have this much budget? What are my options? I would say number one thing for a new agent that has no money whatsoever, I'm going to throw open houses out there.
Right.
Galen, thoughts?
That's always a good one because one, it puts you out there. It gives you something to promote. And then you're actually out there. To me, something to promote is almost as good as actually doing the open house.
Yeah.
And here's why I say that is because you can start, I'm going to be an open house this Saturday. Come on through. People say, oh, I didn't know they did that. Oh, so they start, you kind of get an idea of all right, all the things that go into, what are the things you have to think about with doing an open house? Well, you have to be very knowledgeable of the property. Because people are going to start asking, oh, well, when was it built?
Or you text me your entire open house on my listing and ask me questions.
I don't know.
I
who
get that
did
too. Agents text me like all day at my open houses. I let my agents run opens on my listings because I normally don't. So then, they run it. And
when was this house built?
Yeah, exactly.
How many square feet?
Exactly.
How many bathrooms?
Is there
I'm like, just look around. You can see the bathrooms.
Yeah, look outside.
Is there central air? I'm like, I don't know. Are you hot?
Yep.
Yeah.
I deal
so
I do that a lot.
It gets you in the practice of knowing houses. People inevitably will ask you questions. Some of them you can't answer. Some of you can't because you'll violate, your ethics. But, people want to know, what do you know about this neighborhood? And so you want to be able to say, oh, well, when I was driving in, so have an idea, be prepared to do things like that.
Nowadays, sometimes my agents say, well, I did this open house and no one came. Other times we do open houses and 65 people will show up. So it's hit or miss. You're not always going to have some home run open house. But here's the thing. If 10 people come into an open house regularly, there's a pretty good shot that 10 of those people are looking to buy a house, right? You may get some neighbors, but then you have good marketing to the neighbors because now you have a listing that's there. Sometimes it's even good to knock the doors in the neighborhood and just let people know, hey, we've got an open house going on tomorrow or this afternoon. Don't be alarmed if you see a lot of traffic coming through. Feel free to come in and stop by and check out the house if you want.
That's my favorite one.
Right? Because then you've already got the listing.
I love doing that. I knock in there. Hey, listen, I just want to apologize up front. There might be some extra traffic on your street. If they're parking from your house, I'm so sorry. If there's an issue, please let me know. And people are like, oh, yep. Thank you so much for telling me that. You make goodwill with your neighbors. And then we did that. I never remember the names of streets of stuff. The house we did a while ago where tons of neighbors came and they were all apologetic. We're a neighbor. And I said, neighbors sell houses.
But was that the condo over on Hamilton that all the neighbors were coming through?
It might have been. No. This one was in Smoke Tree. The neighbors all came through and they were like, oh, so sorry. And I said, neighbors sell houses. There's no one going to be able to articulate the neighborhood better than the neighbor, the person who's living there. They'll do a better job than I do. I said, so if you've got a friend or a family member, I said, Phil, come on in. If you know someone, let them know. Here's my card. Here's my number. And they're like, oh, yeah. And I've gotten calls. Talk to your neighbors. That's the easy way to get yourself out there, get your face out there. That's why open houses are so important. I would like to do more of them, but houses are just flying off the...
Yeah, a lot of times they are sold before you even get to the open house day, unless you're waiting for offers. But that is one of those things where you, as
open houses.
From conversion, you have to know your numbers. So you may say, well, I need 50 contacts a month. For each 50, I get one deal out of, right? You have to know the numbers, because the thing is, with an open house, you can maybe get 50 contacts at an open house, and maybe out of those 50, 35 to 40 could be looking for houses, and out of that 35 to 40, maybe 20 of them already have realtors, right? You get a lot of that. But now you're left with 10 to 15, and those are 10 to 15 that if you can get them qualified and you stay on top of them, they could be good deals, right? That's out of 50. But on the flip side, I could give Galen 100 cold leads to go call that we have no idea if they want a house. Maybe they registered on our website. Maybe they, whatever it may be, right? Maybe he's just dialing a neighborhood because he wants listings in that neighborhood. Out of that 100 people, the chances that those 100 are looking to buy a house is far slimmer, right? So that's where knowing the numbers is crucial. I think for every 100 cold calls you make, it probably takes you 100 to get 10 on the phone. And out of the 10 that come on the phone, and then there's that one that wants a house, right? Yeah. So, but see, that's the whole problem, because we also have a lot of agents that have other jobs. They're trying to get into them. They're trying to wean out, and that's cool. But one thing I always ask these agents is, how much time are you putting into your real estate business each week? And if things were turned and you put that much time into your other job, how much money would you make at your other job?
Would they fire you immediately?
Exactly, right? Because if you're thinking, I make 1 hour calls a week and I do an open house a month, well, that's 3 hours a month of work. So could you work anywhere for 3 hours a month and make money? No. So that's why, when it comes to conversion and lead gen, you've got to put in the time. You have to put in the effort. Last thing on open houses, how are you making sure that you can actually keep up with the people that you meet at open houses?
Good call. So there used to be people who have like paper sign-ins. They still have those. I don't use those. I use an app on my iPad, and so when they come, I say, hey, thank you, sir, for coming. Do you mind just signing in? With the homeowner wants to, have a record. They sign in, type their little information in there. It saves it for me. Usually I do open houses on Sundays. That Monday, I call all those people.
Yep.
Notice the word I used. Call.
That's right.
All of those people.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. We call those people. But you definitely want to be able to keep track. It helps you. You're never going to know if you don't reach out and contact them.
Yes.
So, it's really important that you kind of focus on making sure that you can't convert them if you don't copy them down. That's
exactly.
You can't track them.
The way we run our system, I don't know if you have a CRM as a realtor. You may say, what is a CRM? That's just a client management application. So they have different ones out there. They have Boomtown, they have Sierra, they have KV Core, they have, I think, Tiger Tail. There's something about doing that to have like your top hot leads, or maybe you have a whiteboard and you write. There's nothing wrong with paper. There's nothing wrong with having a list that you look at each day.
This country is built on paper.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. As you move forward in this business, what you'll realize is that when you had 10 leads, it was cool to keep up with 10 leads. When you have 3,000 leads in your database, it's now much harder to keep up and run through a list and remember who these people are. So the more software you can have that helps with these things, we use Sierra as a CRM, we use YLopo. That gives us remarketing. It gives us leads. It actually has an artificial intelligence that will talk to people for us. The conversations are hilarious, but they convert and they work. So how are we getting internet leads these days, or what are some ways we can get internet leads?
Well, I mean, I'll list some. You can do Google AdWords.
Yeah.
You can do Facebook, which is Facebook is a very huge tool if you use it correctly.
Really, all the social media, right?
Yeah,
throw Instagram in there. I
don't know about Twitter. I don't know how useful Twitter is.
TikTok's getting questionable these days, I think.
I know. It's like, but using social media, even LinkedIn's very good.
Is it?
I find LinkedIn very good. I use that a lot because LinkedIn's one of the few.
Because he's the only realtor using LinkedIn.
I'm the only guy there. Right. But here's the thing about LinkedIn when you think about it, because it does make sense, is that LinkedIn is one of the few social media platforms that businesses allow people to access. They don't allow you to access Twitter from corporate. All that stuff's blocked. But for some reason, LinkedIn is generally not blocked. So if I can get their attention, when I look at my views in interactions, it is a lot because there's like, this is all we got. So you put up like a little video, a little vignette, a little something that's humorous, talks about real estate. I get a lot of people emailing me like, oh my goodness, hey, real quick question. What's a good time to sell? Oh, hey, stuff like that. So, it's kind of hard probably to do like the sponsored marketing. So I haven't looked into all that stuff, but just organic use. LinkedIn is not that. But so anyway,
you're teaching me something on
so
that.
Facebook to me, I feel like that's the behemoth.
Yeah, I mean, you can do your own posts, get a business page. So many realtors are like, should I get a business page? Should I get a business page? Yes.
And here's what, and do you know why?
Well, because you can't do any promoted content out of a personal page. So at the end of the day, to be able to promote content to people, you actually have to have a business page. You can target it. You can target it per zip codes. With housing, it's a little stricter because of fair housing laws.
Right.
Typically, you've got to do like a 15-mile radius.
Remember the good old days
when you could just target anything you wanted. And that's not in a bad way, guys.
Sure.
It's just, it was so nice because you could dial into a neighborhood, and if you listed a house in one neighborhood, I could market to just the homes in that neighborhood.
Oh, man.
I mean, open houses, same thing. You could hit, hey, check out this house in your neighborhood, and you could target it. Now, that's gone.
A little bit. It's
ages have gone away, which makes it kind of tough, and only because when you look at your market share, you could be selling a house in an assisted living, like retirement community, right? But it is one of the cheapest way to pick up leads digitally. I mean, typically, I think our ad spend is probably $3 to $4 a lead on Facebook. With Google pay-per-click, it's probably about $6 to $9 a lead, which that's actually a really good rate for what we do. Some people are actually spending a lot more. But in comparison, if you were to call Zillow and say, "Hey, I'd like this zip code, please," typically it's going to be about $350 a number, at least in our market, for one lead. And I'm not saying that they don't convert, because a lot of mega teams out there, they spend $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month in Zillow. But if you're a new agent that's listening to this, and
that's
I said,
not an option.
yeah, hey, Zillow's cool, just give us $30,000 a month. Most likely you're trying to scrap together $30,000 the first year in real estate, right? I know people that do a ton of business, and I'll say, well, what's your CRM you're using? No, we don't use CRM. I'm like, what's the, how are you getting leads? And I go, no, it's all word of mouth. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. The majority of my business is word of mouth. I actually divvy out all of the leads to the team. I don't take any leads in personally as the team lead, other than the stuff that's just recurring business. So you can get to that point in real estate where you're not really working on leads, but when you're starting, you don't really have anybody referring you because you haven't sold anything yet. So social's really good for cheap. You've got Realtor.com, you've got Trulia, you've got Zillow, you've got all of these third-party websites that you can buy leads from. Again, pricing-wise, they're going to be a lot higher. What do you think about mail pieces, Galen?
It's a touchy subject because you don't want to offend anyone. I personally don't check my mail every day.
Yeah, like once a week.
Maybe if someone's like, hey, go out and check the mail, because I don't expect anything mail. All my bills come in the email, or I just know the automatic draft, so I don't really check anything. So there was a time, like 2 years ago, I sunk a bunch of money into some mailers. I had my pretty face on there, Studio 77, took the pictures, all that great, and I got maybe like one or two, but it wasn't like anything where I literally the next month after I sent those out, spent a fraction, infinitesimally small amount of money on something else online, and got a ton of people like asking questions. And that was like I was like, if I would have used that initial honk of money,
the big chunk
of money I just spent on this, like things would have been very different very quicker. So personally, I don't do mailers any longer. That's a personal choice.
I used to be in ad sales, and they will work. But
sure.
the thing with ad sales when it's in print, and really anything, is that the statistic is that people have to see it 4 to 6 times before they even realize they're seeing it. So if you're going to go this route, one, realize it's not cheap. You have to pay to print these things, and you have to pay to mail them out. And you can use things like Every Door Direct Mail. If you've never heard of it, it's EDDM. It's through the post office.
That's what I used.
You get 17.5 cents, I believe, right now is the rate to mail out instead of 40 cents, right? So it makes it cheaper, but you're going to be in for $600 to $2,000 a month typically on a small amount of houses, right? Mm-hmm. So the way I look at it is the impact. Remember we talked about our numbers? We talked about, well, know your numbers. If I can hit this many people, how many responses am I going to get? Well, we know that with $2,000 into social media, we can probably have about 100,000 hits on social versus $2,000 into printing. If that gets me to, 1,000 homes, that's 1% of what I can hit socially. And again, not to say that the market is captured on either one, right? You're going to have people that blow through your post and they don't look at it. You also have people that look on the mail and throw it out and don't look at it. I would just suggest that if you want to do mail, you simply farm a neighborhood, whether it's your neighborhood or one that you want to keep, and you just stay on it every single month. This is something where I've had agents that have had success with it, but they live in the neighborhood and they're pumping it out every month for a decade straight, right?
Those are ideas where you get leads. Now you got the lead.
Conversion.
What do I do with it?
Yeah, because
now I get the shiny little lead.
This is where most people fail. And I say this because of this. A lot of agents can come in and they can be on a team and they actually don't have to get leads, so that they can be on a team or have a system where they'll get leads. If you're with EXP, you're given KV Core, which is a CRM, and you can give them like $60 a post, and we're getting, I think, like 20, 30 leads out of $60. It's crazy. I mean, it's super cheap. Yeah. And so at the end of the day, let's say you're doing a program like that. If you have questions on KV Core, EXP ads, if you're with them already, let us know. We're happy to help you set up your ad plans. But if you get 60 leads a month, 70 leads a month, the problem that I see the most often is that these agents don't call at all. They get busy, or they're not busy, or they call once, don't get the person, and then they leave it alone.
Set it up right.
So what do we have to do?
So for what we do for us, we've got a lot of Facebook leads, and those are going to be a little bit cold because it's people that sometimes they're just clicking. And as you mentioned, I'm the king of texting. I will text you. I'll text my friends and family. I generally will not start by texting a lead. And a lot of people don't get there like, oh, just shoot them a text. You almost want to be annoying to them. I'm going to call you on day 1. I'm going to call you on day 2. I'm going to call you on day 3.
Yeah, he is.
Day 4, probably day 5. I'm going to keep calling. Now, I'm not going to leave a voicemail every time. So you keep calling them on the telephone. You cannot text them because I get a lot of texts and I ignore most of them because it's like, oh, it's an advertisement or something. But so when they call me, even if it's a telemarketer, sometimes you're just like, all right, if the same number keeps calling, eventually, wouldn't curiosity, you just like, all right, hey, what do you want?
Oh, it's a real person.
Yeah, one's a human. I got a call the other day. This is the best one. I called and I was like, hello, this is Galen Barker with the Davis Group. Hello? And I was like, hello? Are you a real person? That's what she said to me. And they're like, I was dying. I mean, she started laughing. She was like, sometimes it's like a robot. I'm like, I'm a real boy. Yeah. I'm a Pinocchio real boy.
That's awesome.
And I was like, I noticed that you had registered on Central VA Realty. I'm a senior team member on the team. I just wanted to see how I could help you. And she was like, oh, and we went through the whole gambit and all that stuff. And it wasn't a good time for her right now as far as buying a house. But it's very rare that anyone answers me on the first call. Yeah. I just know that. And I think a lot of agents have to embrace the fact that they're not going to, 1, they're probably not going to answer the first time. 2, you're not annoying them.
Yep.
In the sense that you're like, oh, I don't want to be a bother.
Yeah.
I'm like, do you want to pay your bills?
Yes.
Do you it's like your mortgage come up and you're like, oh, I don't want to be a bother.
Exactly.
I'm like, no, you want to pay the bills. You got car notes. I got a car payment now. So now I got to call. Now it's like I got to pay this car payment. So you got to call. It doesn't matter. It's not a personal thing. You don't want to bother. It's like why don't you want to bother a total stranger? It's like you'll never meet them.
Here's the thing: 100 people. You call all of them. Your best case scenario is that 90 of them actually will get back to you and tell you to get lost. That's awesome. That means there's 90 less people that you have to call, text, email, keep in your database. You trash them. You get rid of them. Our software that we use, not only do we dial out as soon as the lead comes in, but we also have a separate artificial intelligence that will start sending them messages immediately. And they will, we have action plans, so emails and texts for the agent so that the agent doesn't actually have to text and email every day. It'll do it for them. But then if they respond, then they can pick up the conversation.
Immediately jump in.
But I'll have sometimes agents will call me and they're like, well, all I'm getting is people that are just telling me to get lost. I'm like, that's amazing. Because if it was just up to you making calls, you probably wouldn't have reached any of them. And then we'd be trashing them without knowing. So I love hearing someone tell me to get lost.
Yeah.
Because it saves me time.
Don't be afraid to dial the number. Don't be afraid to. And so what we've done on our team, every Monday, I have created a Zoom link. It's called The Only Person Who Can Reject You Is You. And I just say, listen, if you need help calling, log into the Zoom link. You can watch me call. I will call with you. I will critique your call if you want. You can give me a number and I'll call. Hey, this person, I think they said go die, but I'm not sure. Can you call me?
Sure.
Maybe they'll tell me to go die. So it's like, so then we'll be sure. But we block that time out. That's another part. We'll get to that second. It's important to block out your time because you got to do it regularly. Some people are like, oh, I got to it this day. and I didn't get to that day. Well, if you keep rolling them over, well, it's going to come to Friday. Now you got 100 calls and you're going to be miserable because you're just like, oh, it was like, well, why don't you do 20 a day?
We take it a step further. Don't be afraid to call the second the lead comes in. They actually did a study on this, and I've sent this to all of my agents. I try to get them to look at this. If you call the second it comes in, within that hour, some people will say, well, I'll call them tomorrow. Let's just say you wait an hour, 1 hour. Now you're on hour 2. You are 450% less likely to get this person on the phone now within an hour.
Preface that there's nothing wrong with texting and email. I do all of those things, but my go-to bread and butter is going to be the telephone.
Yeah.
Because it rings, people hear it, they're going to look wrong, and then a lot of times if they don't answer, I'll send them a text message. They're like, oh, okay, that's who it is. They're not going to respond.
Yeah.
But 2 days later when I call again, they're like, oh, okay.
The main thing is that you don't just go to emailing this person. You don't call because you think, well, I'm sending 10 emails this week. I made 10 contacts. Yeah, not really. You really do they need to hear your voice. They need
I've
the
actually
voicemails.
stopped counting those as contacts, like emails and stuff. Like, I got to hear a voice before I think of like a contact, like unless it's someone that I know.
Get yourself some action plans, right? There's coaching companies out there that'll set all these things up for you, and you can automate all of these emails and texts so that you're not having to sit up, and that time can be spent with you on the phones doing what you need to be doing. That's dialing for dollars.
Dialing for dollars.
As a real estate agent, that's what it's about.
I hope people, understand it. If they have any questions, or if you're thinking, I need some help calling or just someone to listen to me, there's nothing like role playing. Happy to help. That Monday Zoom link, that's for everybody.
If we missed anything, if you have any suggestions of what you want to hear on the podcast, let us know. Let us know your thoughts on converting, on getting leads. Maybe you can comment up on how you're getting leads, what's working for you.
How are you crushing it in your market?
That's right. And keep watching us. We're trying to come at you live every single week. And then on top of that, follow us on social media. All right, hit us up. 804-536-6100 for my number, _ The Davis Group on Instagram. And Galen?
Galen Parker, 804-274-9016.
See, he has the radio voice.
That's the one I use on the calls.
That's right. Thanks for watching, guys.
Have a good one.
Or listening. We'll see you next week.